My name is Natalin Luke. I'm from Reno, Nevada, and I'm 12 years old, and I support the Keith Andrew Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network. Today is 747. We have professional actress Natalin Luke. It's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. Thank you for taking the time to be a guest on my wonderful show. And let's get started. Everyone can watch Keith Andrew Network on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Keith Andrew Network 24/7. So let's jump right into it. You are a professional actress, model, dancer, and you do play musical instruments.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about, let's see, let me just shake it up a little bit. What was the very first thing that you ever did?
Oh my, okay. So audition-wise or like my first job?
Both.
Okay, so when this all started, it all started when I was doing a pageant called NAM, National American Miss, and that's when I realized my dream came true, and I knew it was what I wanted to do when I grew up. So I went to National American Miss, and I did the pageant, and I decided that I loved modeling, and I loved acting.
No, absolutely. And one thing I do want to point out for our listeners, I do have a thing on my phone called text to speech. So when you type it in, it pronounces the name. Don't ask me, I've been talking all day, so I'm getting tongue-tied. So I'm so used to saying Natalie, but your name is Madeline, right? Actually, for our listeners, can you just say your name don't worry, I can edit this.
Okay, my name is Natalin.
Natalin. Thank you.
Yeah.
And don't forget, the good thing about being pre-recorded is you can always edit stuff. So I'm so used to saying Natalie. I was like, why am I saying Natalie? Why is that name so familiar? But, whatever. It's a brain fart. If I don't talk to someone on an everyday basis, their names doesn't sink in. So it is part of my disability, hint of the show. But I don't mean any disrespect. I do apologize.
No, it's totally fine. I get Natalie all the time, or Natalia.
And they're great names, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Now, the next one I want to ask you is, how has your career been since you were in quarantine? Have you thought, you have social media pretty much at your fingertips. Do you think you're getting more audition roles because you can do online performances, or do you miss actually being in front of people?
So I do miss being in front of people, but it seems that quarantine has helped me a lot with my auditions. Like, I've gotten so many auditions since I've been in quarantine because I get to self-tape. And self-taping is basically where you do an audition from home, and that has helped me because I live in Reno, Nevada, so it's kind of far away from LA. But yeah, it's definitely spiked up all of my auditions.
No, absolutely. And actually, let's start off. Usually I say this for the middle of the show, but let's have fun with it. Social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish in your life? Do you give thanks to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? Do you say, if it wasn't for these platforms, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing? Or do you think just because you have the looks for it, that outplays all the numbers?
So, okay, social media, oh my gosh, social media has helped me a lot, but I think it could help you with anything, but it won't break you. It will just build you up. But social media has nothing to do with how much I've grown in the acting industry. I don't know. It's a very hard question.
Well, let me rephrase it. Say, what was your very first acting role that you got? Was it because of social media, or was it because you just went out for it?
Okay, so my first role I've gotten was an extra in a movie called Mustang. And that actually was because of social media, because the whole reason I got into my acting school was because of an open call on Facebook. So then I got my manager from my acting company, my acting school, and that's the whole reason I got my extra part.
No, absolutely. So pretty much it's all thanks to Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, the next one I want to ask you is what are some of your favorite social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? Which one do you think is like, oh my God, if I never used this site, I want to have gotten my career started?
Definitely Instagram, because I've had such a huge presence on Instagram, and that has also made me meet you and meet all these different managers and companies. It's really cool.
No, absolutely. And like I said, one thing about my show is I show people with a disability, look at what I'm able to accomplish. But at the same time, hey, you're making a new friend out of it. So hey, you killing, I hate the expression, but you're killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah, totally.
And it's funny because you actually have a bigger following than I do. So the next question I want to ask you is how do you get people to follow you?
Oh man. Okay, so I've gotten people to follow me because I follow them. And that has given me a lot of new friends because I've posted a lot and I've given them followers, so they gave me followers. Yeah. And my community as well, because I know a lot of people in this small community, and they have all followed me because they know me, and yeah, and then they tell people about me. So
No, absolutely. And I do have some great ideas I'd love to talk to you about off the air. But one of them, I'm just going to throw it out you. Well, how would you feel, hypothetically, how would you feel about being a brand ambassador?
wow, I would be so surprised. Honestly, I would love to be a brand ambassador. Oh my gosh, brand ambassador. Oh my gosh, I say it wrong all the time.
Don't worry, I have that effect on people. But if you're
um,
interested, I would love, I'm trying not to pick like a person to be a brand ambassador. So for my message, I'm trying to get everyone to be part of it. And if you're interested, I would love to work with you.
oh yeah, I would totally be interested.
Now we could definitely talk about that off the air. Now, the other question I want to ask you is what is your favorite musical instrument? And what was the very first instant made an impression on you? Was it like, say, I don't know, like you saw someone playing the piano? It's like, okay, that right there made an impact on me. Or was it the drums or the guitar? What was the very first musical instrument that just made an impact on you?
Okay, so my father is Hawaiian, and so is my mom. So the ukulele had a great impression on me, and that was the first instrument I've ever played, and I still play it till today, and that it's just made such a big impact on me.
No, absolutely. And now the other question I was going to ask you, not to sound like I'm not having a brain fart. I live at home, so unfortunately, I have my family yelling in the background. So bad enough, I can't keep my concentration straight. So, maybe headphones would be good. And anyway, a little about me. So the question I was going to ask you is, are your parents famous?
Um, no, well, kind of. Okay, big in the community, but not famous around the world or anything like that.
Well, what do they do?
So my parents are chefs, and they own a restaurant called Aloha Shack, and everybody knows us because we just have a big presence on social media, like me, and we're very friendly, and we know a lot of people.
No,
Oh,
absolutely.
and cook food, good food.
Oh, they're more than welcome to be on the show.
Oh, yeah.
Just to do like a little plug. And actually, if your parents are interested, maybe they will could cross promote. I can advertise of their company and restaurant, and they could just advertise me. You know, like I said, win-win, right?
Yeah, totally.
I do have another question for you. Are you, not to sound like an oxymoron, I do apologize, and that should be a hashtag, not an oxymoron. You're part Hawaiian, right?
Yeah.
And you're also Japanese, I take it?
Vietnamese.
Ah, no disrespect.
Oh no, totally, it's fine.
Yeah, my niece is actually Chinese.
Oh, nice. I'm also Filipino too.
Oh, nice. So I guess you get your good looks from your mother, then.
Yeah, totally.
Don't mind me. I'm just got to stop talking now. So the next one I want to ask you is, what type of dancing do you prefer, and what got you interested in being a dancer?
So I have watched American Idol and Dancing with the Stars, and that totally inspired me. And the type of dance I recommend, really, because I'm really good at it, but hip hop. It's all so fast, and it's just I love dancing hip hop.
I always heard about hip hop. You said hip hop, right?
Mhm.
I always heard of it. I can't think of what type of style that is. But a lot of people
I
love
think
it.
I think it's modern dance.
Ah, yeah, I know. I'm only 32 and I feel old. So the next question, actually, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions about your acting career, and then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Hi, my name is Kara Svucek.
I'm Julia Brothers.
Jenna Curtis.
Hey, I'm Jenny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ella Dorsch.
My name is Shauna Toft.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Actress Becky Hayes.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Darren Sakimieta.
Hi guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews' show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesomeness.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the commercial break. I'm here with the beautiful and talented Ms. Natalin Luke. Now, what's the last 13 minutes and counting? Well, 12 minutes and counting, but let's make it 13. I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions. You can throw it back at me, anything you want to talk about. So let's actually do a couple of easy ones. The first one I'm going to ask you is, what was the proudest day of your life?
Oh man. Okay. I have to say the proudest day of my life is when I got my first Nickelodeon audition. I was ecstatic. I was going crazy. I was so happy. Cuz it was my first giant big audition, and I was so super surprised.
Actually, I'm going to put you on the spot now. Do you like Nickelodeon more? And by the way, your freedom of speech, so guys don't hold us against her. Or do you love Nickelodeon more? It's like, you know what? I grew up to it. And I'll give you an example what I mean by that. But do you want to say, I love Nickelodeon, this is what I want to do? Or do you love Disney more?
Oh man. I would have to say, no offense Nickelodeon, but Disney.
Go ahead.
I grew up watching Disney Channel. I stayed up late watching Disney Channel when I was little, and Disney, it's so big, and I always dreamed of being on a big Disney Channel show or movie. And I have watched basically all the shows I could on Disney Channel, and I always looked forward to trying to get onto there.
Now, the reason I asked you that question, it's like, what do you prefer more? And if someone threw me the opportunity, hey, Keith, you want to work for Nickelodeon and Disney? I mean, oh, hell, I do both. But
I would totally do both.
the reason I bring it up is when I was your, Jesus, now I'm making myself feel old. When I was your age, I was always in Toys R Us and KB Toys. Do you remember KB Toys?
My mom definitely talks about KB Toys.
Well, I was always in there when I was your age. I was always buying WWF, WCW toys. Now I can't place my toys anymore. I have two big hands, and you're an adult who plays with toys, right? But anyway, so I was always in KB Toys and Toys R Us, and I'm thinking it would be really nice to get a job like this one day. 2006, when I was in a senior year of high school. Now I'm just dating myself here. I got the chance to work for KB Toys. And recently, let's see, it's 2020. 2 years ago, I actually worked for Toys R Us when they were in Woodbury Commons. Woodbury Commons is the second biggest mall in North America. Have you ever gone there?
No, but that sounds amazing.
Oh, you're not missing anything. Well, let me explain what. For me, you're not missing anything because if you live in the area, you don't go shopping there. It's pretty much, you can be anywhere in the world. And you mentioned Woodbury Commons. You can be in Canada, England, Japan, China. I don't care where you are. You can say the words Woodbury Commons. People automatically know it is because it's the world's biggest attraction. What I mean by attraction, snow rides or anything, but they have 300 plus stores. And they mostly cater to women and children because they have dresses and purses and shoes. And I mean, if you're into fashion, hey, you gone to heaven. But if you're just like electronics or video game, no, you're in the wrong place.
See, me myself, I am trying to be a fashion designer right now. I have a sewing machine and a sewing mannequin, and I just ordered new fabrics to make a dress.
Well, I wish you the best of luck in that. So you're pretty much gonna be a fashionista.
Yeah.
Now, the other question I want to ask you is hint of the show, and then I'm going to pass it over to you. You can ask me anything on. Is have you ever worked with people with disabilities? And are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
Yes, I have worked with people with disabilities because my acting school promotes Down syndrome. And the owner's son, the owner's son has Down syndrome. So we do a big show every year. Sadly, not this year, but every year. And it's called Idols and Icons. And we raise money and we do like some big acts and modeling and singing and dancing. And just to promote Down syndrome.
No, absolutely. Now, passing the show over to you is the last 7 minutes. You can talk about anything you want. Do you have any funny stories, any funny pranks, anything you want to ask me? This is your time.
Okay, well, this is hard. I was wondering, how did you start your show or your network?
I really wish I have $1 for every time someone said that. Let's see. You want the long story or the short story?
I'll take either.
And there's so many different variations of the story. But I keep it to the top 4. My dad's a famous teacher in New York City. He started back in the 60s. And he had Wesley Snipes in his class. He met Al Pacino. He had Piso's Al Pacino. He met Tony Bennett. He worked with Tony Bennett's wife. He met the Wayans brothers. He was on stage with John Glenn and Mayor Giuliani on the Canyon Heroes. My dad met so many famous people, and so I use my dad for an inspiration. When we're not going fighting and banging heads or anything, I use my brother for an inspiration. He thinks I'm an ass kisser. Maybe I am, but I use him for an inspiration. The other one was I got tired of using my disability as a crutch, saying I can't do this, I can't do that. And I call it the boomerang effect. And the one thing I want to tell you is never do that. You say, you throw the boomerang and you say, oh, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that, I'm disabled, people will feel sorry for me, things will be done for me. And now as it comes back, and if you don't catch it, it will whack you upside the head. You just say, great, I just labeled myself as that person being disabled, and things will just magically fall into your lap. Telling you how delusional I was. I actually thought about that, how things would just happen for me. But if you want something, never do anything half-ass. And what I mean by that is, say you go work for Nickelodeon, and then you say to your mom, I really didn't want it, but I did it anyway to make you happy. Don't do that. If you're going to do something, make sure you give 110%, because I want into stores saying, I really don't want to work here, but I really need the money. All you're doing is setting yourself up for failure, and it's like a house of cards, or in my case, like a pyramid. But you build it, and you say you're not really thrilled of it. This is not really something you want, and it takes one mistake, and it falls. So never set yourself up for failure. That should be a title of my book, because I have a bad habit of that. The other one was, it started with a birthday wish. I know people are going to make fun of me for that, say, oh, that sounds stupid. But when I turned 21, people said it's the most special birthday you can have in a lifetime. And I'm like, well, I don't drink. Well, I drink on special occasions, but I'm not an alcoholic. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. If I have to die, I would like to have a couple famous friends. And then I went about saying, hey, my name's Keith, how are you? And they said, oh, we want nothing to deal with you. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to change my angle. Maybe if I change my pitch and say, create something and say, why should this, for an example, why you should be my friend? What do I have to offer you? First off, I'm giving you an opportunity to be on air, number one. But what do I have to offer? I'm like, well, I'm not doing this for I am doing it for myself, but if I can turn myself into an example for people out there for dealing with any types of disabilities, one, I can start my life, I can start my career, and in the process, I can interview who I want. And it isn't just an interview. You get to meet all these great people, and if it's meant to be, I really hate saying that, if it's meant to be, you got to make a new friend out of it. If it's not, hey, thanks for the interview. So I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to turn my birthday list into a talk show, and the theme will be, labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. For 7.5 years, you look at season 1, I was actually called Uncensored. Long story short, I was a big wrestling fan, and that didn't work out, so I took it down. Long story, made a lot of stupid mistakes, but it's a learning process. But the thing is, I'm going to say, look at what I was able to accomplish. So yes, in a way, I did meet a whole bunch of great wrestlers, famous people. Are they like friends that I say I can call up and say, hey, let's hang out? Well, quarantine's a big thing, and they don't live in the area, and they're always busy. But can I message them and say, hey, how are you? How's everything going? Of course I can do that. So I met so many great people, and unfortunately, on the same hand, you're going to meet a lot of ungrateful people in the world. Your parents can vouch for that. It's going to be like, who are you? Who moved a rock? Because it's 50-50. Whatever you do in life, it's going to be 50-50. You got to take the good with the bad. But in answer to your question, and I hope I answered it.
Yeah, definitely. The whole reason I started acting was just, it's not about the fame for me. It's about making people happy. And see, when I used to have a bad day at school, I'd come home and I'd watch TV and watch my favorite TV show, and I'd be happy because I get to watch these people be a certain character, and I loved that.
No, absolutely. It takes you out of reality. And that's the one thing about any show that you watch. For that small window of time, it's just an outlet, and you can just imagine what it'd be like to be that person. But
Totally.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah, you can keep going.
Well, like I said, I have diarrhea at the mouth. But we are wrapping up, and I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Wrapping up, I want you to be brutally honest, 100% honest, say whatever you want. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first honest reaction? What made you say yes? And after being a guest, how do you feel now? And would you recommend it to other people?
Okay, so when I first got your message, I was like, okay, first of all, I need to make sure this is all true. So my mom came and she researched and she was like, yeah, it's all true. And what made me say yes is I heard you had a disability, and I was completely surprised because you seem like such a regular person, just no offense, just like a totally normal person. And I was like, you know what? Why not? So this just all encouraged me to go on your show. And honestly, being here and talking with you, it was the best. It was the best experience.
No, absolutely. That's the one thing I try to tell people. It's you're supporting a good cause, it's a good message, and you make a new friend out of it. So you get 3 important things out of it. But wrapping up, it was a real honor, privilege having me as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.